I think one of the biggest hungers inside, not only the church community, but the broader community, is the whole unity business. In John 17, I'm not going to preach it now, but Jesus, the last prayer he prayed, Father, may they be one. Mm-hmm. And on a given day, we are anything but one. And I know right now, the entire country, the entire world, is saying,
we're struggling right now.
How can we
do that?
How can we get together? And sometimes now we can't compromise on just basic principles, But I think we can be a little more gracious than what we are. I think we could reach a little farther sometimes. And the point is, I don't have to agree with you on everything. Even to go to heaven, I don't have to agree with you on everything. If that's the case, with how many 5,000 different denominations or ways of looking at the same Jesus that we all love, then give me a break. If only one is right. I think one of the funniest things that Mark does, he said, just think, when we get to heaven and find out somebody was wrong.
I try to, because you always get those conversations, whether it's over a coffee or and people they start talking about that division. In my mind, I'm thinking, is this going to cause me not to want to break bread and have communion at the altar? Because when it's all said and done, we can disagree on all these other things. But when it comes to Christ and his body and his blood, that's what makes us one.
Yeah.
And so is that going to keep me from having communion with you? And the answer usually is no.
Well, I tell you where it does break down on a mission field. When missionaries from various denominations get out there in foreign fields and they're in the minority, you can get a little tougher when you're in the majority. And in all fairness, Christians are pretty popular still yet in America.
Yeah.
So we can build bigger steeples and bigger churches and be bigger than somebody else. But out there, when there's a whole bunch of folks and a whole bunch of people doing it differently, and they're bigger than you are, you kind of say, we don't agree on everything, but could we join hands here and pray for my son?
Yeah. Or what we say here doesn't translate over there. I mean, we were in India, we were walking around in those slums. These little kids are running around us and they're giggling and laughing. And the most obscure place in the world, and the squalor and the smell and the poverty. And I'm like, they don't know any different. They're laughing, having fun. And then they said, say something to them. And then we'll translate. I'm like, I don't have anything to say. Because all these little glib things that we say, one-liners over here, it's not going to work here. And the only thing that came to my mind was when Jesus said, such is the kingdom of heaven. You got to come as a child. And
we saw that early in our lives, and we said, I bet you heaven to these kids is not it's not streets of gold and all that kind of stuff. And we wrote, Jesus, I heard you had a big house.
Yeah.
Where I could have a room of my own. Jesus, I heard you had a big yard, big enough to let a kid roam. Jesus, I heard you had clothes in your closet, just the right size that I wear. And Jesus, I just want to tell you, I sure would like to go there. We wrote that song because of kids in the inner city, in the streets. One of the lines says, there's plenty of food to go around. There's always laughing and singing to fill the house with happy sounds rather than yelling and screaming and everything.
And to them, that would be heaven.
Be heaven to me, too.
Yeah.